All right, there we go. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I think I did it in time. Set that button on my shirt a little bit. But welcome back to another episode of The Drop Room. I am one of your hosts, Darth Mike, and I am joined once again by the wonderful Balti Baby.
The one full.
The one full.
Yes, I am here. I am whole. Even though you only see half of me, I am a whole person.
I said wonderful, but I
wonderful! I thought you said
full.
I thought you said one full. I was like,
I'm a Balti half full kind of guy. I'm a Balti half empty kind of guy.
Okay, and I'm an optimist. That's what I like to hear.
So we're gonna hop right into it.
I was gonna lead into it.
Oh, go for it.
Stepping on my lead-in with your lead-in. I like it.
Go with your lead-in.
So you're such an optimist, and we're gonna lead in with the minor talk here. And you must be an optimist, being an E United fanboy, seeing as just today they were now dropped into the lower bracket. Press F to pay respects.
Press F. I'm happy they made it out of groups. What I'm actually surprised by, so I actually got to watch a reasonable amount of this because I snuck it in at work. Shouldn't have been watching it, but I did. You can't stop me, man. You can't keep me down. Can't keep me out of the system. So the first map was abuse, is the way I would put it. Rogue beat them up on train. It was a 15-0 half. Just absolutely annihilated them. They wound up getting 2 rounds in the second half. United did, but it was really just a matter of time. And it was the first gun round. Rogue picked it up. So that round was that map was abusive. It was actually impressive to me. From what I know of E United, I was actually surprised they managed to come back and win the second map, just because it's such an emotional team that I'm impressed that they were able to shake off getting absolutely battered on their map pick and come back. But then ultimately in the third map, they put up a good fight, but it wasn't meant to be. Rogue looks really good. Rogue looks really good.
Dude, I don't want to say it's one player, because I know that unless you're Na'Vi, it's really not one player. And I know we saw Electronic. We'll get into that a little bit later with the Cologne talk. But with Rogue, it really seems like Cadian is just stepping up all the time. Like anytime you see a Rogue win, he's playing super well. So
today, my observation was, yes, Cadian is playing really well lately. He's playing amazing Counter-Strike lately. But one thing I'm really impressed with Rogue is their coordination and their utility usage. They were playing. I noticed it in particular on the map that I got to watch the most of, which was Inferno. A-Site Inferno, they had great utility usage where a push would start to come in, and all of a sudden there would be like 3 smokes, and they were just completely shut down. There's great coordination there. They'd be supporting a player while the player moved up to take an aggro angle, falling off, like just coordinating the pushes. They never took sites one by one. It was always a double peek around the retake or something like that. They traded really well. I was very impressed with the preparation from Rogue. And yes, Cadian is insane. Vice was playing very well. Sick was playing very well. But I'm really impressed with that team. I think they can actually do damage if they go to the major.
And it doesn't surprise me too much, seeing as like usually when a European player comes over to NA, it's usually kind of a little bit of a destruction, as we've seen a little bit with Cirque with NRG. And Cadian's been here for a little bit now, and it doesn't surprise me that like with the leadership of both Hiko and Cadian having IGL experience from like EU and stuff like that and Danish teams, like it doesn't surprise me that the level of preparation is that high, especially when they're probably potentially even looking down on E United as Rogue, like as a professional team. Maybe they just don't see E United on the come up, and they're just kind of preparing for more of a complexity or NRG thing.
I think if you're a Rogue, E United is now at the point where they deserve respect, because they're in the same leagues you're in. They're in ECS, they're in Pro League. You've played them at DreamHack. You're starting to play them more and more. So I think it is the team that you're prepared for and that you've done some research on. The other thing is, and here's another key point for their preparation, a familiar face, MCE, standing behind them, is their coach, and he is a very good coach to have for preparation. Utility usage, coordination, that kind of thing. So I suspect he's done a fair amount of contribution towards those setups as well. It's really coming together for that team, which is exciting, because they've sort of puttered around for a while. I think we've talked about this before, but it's exciting to see them put it together and really just show some pretty good CS.
All right, so we've talked about Rogue, we've talked about E United. The other two teams that just faced off just now, NRG and Complexity. Complexity walking away with a big 2-1 victory, moving on to face Rogue in the upper bracket final.
That's
I very surprised. The
surprised.
third map was super close, 8-7 half, and then Complexity just started just walking away with it. They just ended it, and then it came into overtime, I'm pretty sure, didn't it not?
The second map came into overtime and was 19-17.
Yeah.
And Complexity picked it up, and then Inferno was 16-8.
Yes.
So it was a pair of 16-8s and a 19-17. Yeah,
so Inferno was actually like super close in the beginning, 8-7 half, and then once Complexity got to the CT side, it was just like complete domination.
It's kind of crazy. I'm wondering if this is a little bit of what you were talking about before with like Rogue and United, where NRG's just kind of like, man, we're gonna breeze through this minor, maybe not doing as much homework as they should have. But,
especially with like the addition of Stanislaw and Shazam. Like I feel like even because Stanislaw walking into this is gonna be IGLing the squad, you'd think that NRG would have like even prepped like Stanislaw's old teams too, because he's probably bringing a lot of like stuff that he's brought into like say Optic from before, like he's bringing that in now. So maybe they did kind of think that they're just gonna breeze through it. And if you look at it, I mean IGL Daps, I feel like he's kind of like the same thing as what Thorin tweeted out the other day about Zeus. He's a great leader, but he's a bot. And I think that was probably the case in this particular series. I'm not saying Daps is a bot. I'm just saying this series was not his series.
Spicy takes here. Spicy takes here from Balti. You should tweet that out. We'll see how it goes.
I do not want to do that. I'm Zeus. Like Zeus did to Thorin, I think Daps might do that to me.
It's possible. Yeah, it's really hard. Admittedly, it's really easy to make that point when you just won a huge Counter-Strike at that. Like from
for sure.
We'll get into that. We'll get into that. That's coming on the show. But no, NRG, I mean, they really looked flat-footed, which is strange. We were both talking about when we were making our predictions, it was like, okay, NRG and somebody else.
Yeah. It was very one-sided. Yeah. Luckily, I will say luckily for NRG, because they will have to face E United, and I know we talked about this on the last show. I'm not an E United believer.
I'd be very surprised if they could top NRG
and
in an elimination best of 3.
Yeah, I don't see it happening. If they do, big props. But I
like the squad. They are decided underdogs in this. I will be very surprised if they pull it off.
Yeah,
very surprised. I think their chance was to beat Rogue in a fairly close series, and then they could have maybe tried to get. I mean, Complexity's hard still, but they could have maybe gotten past Complexity. But I'll be amazed if they beat NRG. And I mean,
hey, NRG can't even get past Complexity now. So I mean,
apparently,
maybe we have new favorites for this minor.
I think it may have been that they were looking too far ahead, because I mean, I'm a Pet gave an interview where he's like, "Yeah, we expect to make legends." It's like, okay, make the major first. There's a step here that you're missing, which is the major. But I mean, hopefully they. I don't know. For the sake of level of CS, I really do think NRG probably still makes it out of this.
I don't think one best of 3 is going to change my decision on who's the favorite or not. It's still NRG. Like, even though they did lose, it was at least like 2 16-8s and an overtime.
Yeah.
If you look at like the score lines and the HLTV ratings, like you look at it as of like, how did NRG actually kind of lose this? Because the fragging looks pretty in favor of NRG, but obviously fragging isn't everything. Winning rounds is everything.
That is true. Winning rounds is everything.
Yes, if you win rounds, you win the game. Yes.
Okay, John Madden. So I think we should also touch on group stage here, because one interesting note from group stage, we were talking about how prominent Brazilian teams are getting both in NACS and in World CS. Well, both Brazilian teams in this minor wiped off. NTC, I don't think picked up a map. I don't know if Furia did either.
NTC lost the first map to E United 16-12, which was Mirage, I'm pretty sure. They beat Swole Patrol 2-0, and then E United beat them 2-0. Yeah. So I don't think Group A actually had too big of surprises. I think E United's 2-0 was kind of big for them. I would have imagined that it would have gone 2-1 at least. in favor of United.
Mhm.
I'm not a big believer in this NTC squad. I just see it as just one giant frag house, and then Bit is just there to like kind of lead them. Yeah, like, hey guys, let's go. We can do it. You guys are all good at this game. Let's go. Like,
It's a weird squad. It's a weird squad.
Yeah, like against E United, who I think actually has really good leadership in terms of Dazzle and Relics. Dazzle having like IGL'd for a little bit prior until Relics came in, and just good like team cohesion. Like if you see on Twitter, like these guys are like brothers at this point. Like the team is really like intense, like with each other, and that sounded weird, but these guys are good teammates. I'll say
boot
that.
camps, let's just say they all share a room. No,
yeah, one bed, all 5 of them.
No, I know what you mean. They're very tight knit. They've been spending a ton of time together. They've been doing a lot of practice. It's starting to pay off for them in a big way.
And we always bring up Oso. Oso is big for them. He's their jack of all trades for that team. He does everything except go or like actually shoot a gun in server. Like that's what this guy's all about. So it's no surprise to me, at least,
Oso
that
can kill you without even getting into the server.
just looks at you and you're dead. Does that kind of mean he's like Medusa or what?
Medusa or like some sort of legendary assassin. I'm going with James Bond. But anyway, I mean, you've seen his Twitter pic. I mean, how can you resist that face?
Yeah, dude's a beauty.
Goggles. Balti, if we can pull up that Twitter, or not Balti, Griff. Balti is who I'm talking to. Griffin, if we can pull up that Twitter pic. It's been a long day, folks. If we can pull up that Twitter pic, that'd be great. I was at a LAN until 5 a.m. or till 4 a.m. on Saturday, so I'm still a little shaken from that.
What LAN?
DC LAN.
Oh, nice.
DC local LAN. Yeah, we discovered that there was a 7 gig update for the Panorama UI, right, as we tried to get that LAN started.
Oh, it's 7 gigs? I'm not even lying. I don't even have CS downloaded at the moment, so that's gonna be a big install.
There was like 5 or 6 hours of delays, so it wound up running real late.
Holy.
So shout outs to everyone who stayed until like 3:30, 4 a.m. And I got home at about 5. Sun was rising. I went to bed. It's that LAN life. Rock stars and LAN stars. Same thing.
It's the same thing now. It's 2018. It's the same thing.
One gets you significantly less girls, though, I gotta say.
Yeah. Yeah,
we're working on it. We're working on it.
Yeah, we're not quite there yet. We're not there yet.
It's the future. So, anything else we need to touch on? Dignitas looked like they could have actually taken it over Complexity for a little bit there. They gave them a good run for their money, and then it just fell apart.
Yeah, like I said last week, it's just like I get that they're doing well in MDL. I think like the 9-0 is impressive, but I think that's just because of the degree and skill in that division compared to the 2 other teams that you would have had to face in that group. And then, unfortunately for Furia, they kind of went 0-2. But I don't think that's much of a surprise. Like, this is basically their first, like, NA experience right now. So the fact that they had to face probably 3 pro-level degree teams, not a surprise that they went 0-2. So, I mean, we'll definitely see more of them, probably in, like, ESEA main and then advanced, and then we'll kind of make their way up potentially. But
yeah,
for now, it's expected.
Just them having that new tier of competition of like having regular scrims available to them with NA teams, having consistent play on that level, no longer having server issues to compete in online tournaments or qualifiers and that kind of thing it's their standard of play is presumably going to come up. We've seen it plenty of times with other teams, just having that availability and that resource, and also having everybody in a house practicing together all the time.
Yeah.
Watch out for Furia.
So I got a question for you,
Sure.
And I'm sure we'll touch on it later in the show. But with Swole Patrol going 0-2, we've kind of seen the disappointment in terms of like Twitter and stuff. Zelsis just having a bad time overall. Maybe not with his teammates, but just in terms of overall talent right now and how the team is going. So they go 0-2. Do you think they might need a change soon? Because I know that with Ghost finally releasing Seb and VSA recently. Seb has already gotten a new team. We'll talk about that with the MDL part of the show. But VSA is still a free agent.
I hadn't considered that.
Could Swole potentially get a very hard, deady IGL into this team at the cost of losing maybe one of their like main core pieces? If they want to keep Lowman,
I think Little Man goes if they lose somebody.
Yeah, because honestly, like if they're gonna break up the core, I think it actually just overall makes the team worse. Rather than like if they brought in VSA.
What I wouldn't be I don't know that they necessarily need to get rid of Lil Man right now. Like they're definitely trying him out. They're trying to figure out if it works, and they like the way he plays. And when I spoke to Zelsis, one of the priorities that he said they had was that chemistry in terms of like, does it feel good to be in the server with this person? So I don't know if any of those players have history with VSA or if there's any sort of feeling like there, but it's a really intriguing concept bringing VSA into that squad, just in terms of getting a more tactical mind, a more dedicated in-game leading mind. And I hadn't really considered it previously, but that is actually a roster that really makes a lot of sense for him to go to.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not a high-paying gig.
No, not yet.
Yeah,
Not
they're not there yet. I'm pretty sure they have gotten offers. I think I heard.
There was some. Yeah, there have been some offers, and they have talked to a few different orgs, and I think they're sort of trying to feel out where they stand and where they're going with it.
I think they're one of those teams, and I feel like it might be because of the experience that they have on the team. Freak, Silent, and Lil Man all having pro level experience, that they're just kind of like, we want the best possible offer and not taking offers from like MBL offering teams, kind of like Vision Gaming or Vireo Pro. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with those orgs. I'm just saying those are the kind of like new faces to the league. Yeah. So they're kind of like, we don't want a new face. We kind of want established orgs. So
I think it's also probably that if I had to guess, I'm guessing orgs tend to lowball teams like this with the idea that you lock them into a contract for a while, and then if they qualify for pro, you've got that locked in.
Yeah.
And that's not really, I mean, obviously they're going to avoid that. But this does give us a nice lead in to talking about the Mountain Dew League. So well done on that segue.
Yeah. There you go.
Segue master, Balti.
Yeah.
In we go. So very exciting news in the Mountain Dew League. Off the subject of Swole Patrol and orgs, but very exciting news. It's time for a celebration, folks, because 46-2, when I wrote these notes, 46-2 got one win. But since I wrote these notes, 46-2 have 2 wins, ladies and gentlemen. They are no longer unwinning.
They have doubled their amount of wins since you mentioned it in the notes.
Dos Winos.
Yeah, these guys are at the top of the bottom of the barrel, okay? These guys are the number 1 feeders in the league, and I love to say it, okay? These guys, 46-2, at this point, that's going to be their win column, okay? By that, I mean they're going to have, the 46 is going to be losses, and then the 2 is going to be their wins, right? So they're there, and now they're going to get 40. How many more losses they need? 34 more losses. They're going to get that many, but they'll stay at the same amount of wins. So there we go.
It'd be impressive if they stayed in the league with that many losses.
Yeah, very true.
All I'm saying, Balti, is this is the biggest victory for an organized Mexican team since they made it out of groups in the World Cup. Like 2 weeks ago. So
yeah, now they've got something to cheer about. Don't worry, like these guys are here to help you
out. They've made some changes too. They're no longer pure Mexicano. They've got some other people on the squad, but honestly, I'm not gonna. We don't need to spend too much time on that roster because it's very exciting that they got wins and that no one is the Browns of Mountain Dew League this season.
Yes, I do want to say though that the teams that they did beat are just as bad. Okay,
yeah,
like these are not impressive wins. Like if they beat, say, like Dignitas and gave them their first loss, I'd be like, oh my god, they're the best team in the league.
That'd be a Disney movie.
That would be a Disney
movie. It'd be the Mighty Ducks round 2.
Exactly. But instead, they didn't beat Dignitas. They beat X-Force, aka Chill on Balding. Okay, I want you to take a listen to these rosters. I got them written down here on paper because this is such a monumental moment.
This is the topic
NBL history. This yes, I prepped for many here. Hey, this is double-sided. Okay, come on. I'm a professional here. So for X-Force,
how much of that one side is just about this?
Half of this side. Okay, so X-Force, Chill on Balding. Before their loss, were 2-8. Clums, Rugrat, Polly, Imsta, and Desi. An interesting roster, a mishmash of
Damn, Desi's
mediocrity.
falling down.
You like that mismatch of mediocrity?
Dang.
Little alliteration for your head top.
Desi's
All right.
really falling off.
Before the loss, prospects 3-8. Roster: B. Wills, Josh RT, Hero, Strings, and V-Berg. Now.
Hey, it's something. Look,
this
King of Shit Mountain? King of Shit Mountain is still king of something. That's all I'm saying.
But here's the thing. Now they still have basically an equal roster to X-Force. Now we have the question of who's the worst team in the league. Is it X-Force?
Taco spot. If it's any consolation to you, Balti, don't worry. I'm pretty sure all of these teams are going to get relegated.
Bless up.
Real good odds that they're all going to get relegated.
So on the topic of mediocrity, Subtle. I know you got it written down in the notes there. It's an interesting bad team.
They're really they really stink a lot worse than I thought they would. I didn't think they were good. I didn't look at that roster and go, star power. I looked at that roster and said, they're probably not going to do a lot of work, but sort of hang around the middle. Like that's what I was expecting. I was expecting kind of a float around the middle because it's a bunch of players who don't really care that much about league play right now. But man, they really stink.
Dude, you say they don't have star power. I'm going to bring that into question.
No, they do have star power. That's what I'm saying.
Bro, A2Z is the greatest player in the world. Like, what are you saying? No star power. They have Ocean.
Greatest player in the world. That's true. They do have Odig. They have Odig. They have Dazed, the legend, the savior of NACS, who was revealed to not be the savior of just about anything. Pretty much as soon as he came back to CS. Blocks. And they have Summit. Who can forget his antics with nades and mollies?
Yeah.
As he jumps through the air.
Yeah. It's so, like, I feel like it'd be a fun team to watch, but also just like it'd also just be fun to watch them lose, which they have been doing. So there you go.
No one is the only player under 25. Actually, he's the only player under 27. You know how we were talking about very old people and we did like the math on the average age of that team?
And it's not even that old. It's like 24, 25.
It's like 24, 25. Yeah, this one is 31. Dazed is 28. Summit's 31. And A2Z is 27. They're giving Virtus Pro a run for their money.
Yeah, especially in terms of losses. They're really giving them a run for their money. Got him.
Look, trigger. Quick on the trigger.
I'm going for the triggering this episode.
You're going for the throat.
Yeah, last show it was about awkwardly racial jokes that were not on purpose, and now it's about.
Let's not bring that up again. Let's not get into that. Let's not get into that again. Just don't let Ballsy talk about Brazil too long. It gets weird.
Yeah, sorry. At least we don't. Do we even have Brazilians in the MDL this season? I don't think we do. I think we're safe. So there won't be any.
Team 1 next season.
All right.
Team 1 Korea, probably.
Bottom of the barrel, we're going to disregard for now. We're going to go back to the top. All right. Bravado Gaming, who seemingly doesn't miss any matches, which I love. Okay. The fact that they actually show up on time and don't reschedule. Now, this is a professional team for the first time that I've seen in a while in MDL. This is unprecedented.
They're legit. I mean, they're all in a team house in Arizona. They like came here with a purpose.
Yep.
And they are going to accomplish that purpose.
Yeah. Currently 10-4 in the league. So, you know, they're on their way right now. They basically solidified a playoff spot already. Mm-hmm. So kudos to them. I don't think it was unexpected though. Like we kind of knew this was going to happen. Like
I expect to see them in Pro League next season. At the end of next season, I guess. Not a movement this season, but at the end of next season, I'll put it this way. I expect them to make it to playoffs next season, much less this one. And I would not be surprised if they made it to Pro League. That's the way I'll phrase it. Because relegation is a struggle to begin with. But Bravado looks really good. Bravado have looked very good. They've got a couple losses, or 4 to be specific, but
yeah, it's whatever. You're still in the playoffs. At this point, who cares? You can lose your next 2 and be fine with it. Because honestly, it doesn't even matter what seed they go into. Like I see them in a best of 3 coming out just fine.
Yeah. The real question is, can Dignitas go undefeated throughout the season? Because that would be impressive.
See, most of their games are already mapped out. So they have a game against Subtle, which is I think we already discussed how that's going to go. They have a game against Swole Patrol, which would be interesting. We didn't get to see that in the minor, considering different groups, and neither of them made out of the playoffs or groups. Feels bad. So that could be an interesting game. They have a game against Blackout, who I'm pretty sure just added Seb, and I'm pretty sure we know how good Seb is, considering during his time in Ghost, like when they were in the professional league, like he was actually kind of a shining light, considering how much he didn't play and didn't practice that much. It came into question a lot.
Not playing and not practicing will probably fit right in with this.
Yeah. They have a game against Gorilla Gang, who's also at the top. They got a game against Monstars and Vireo Pro. So they got a good mix of top and middle of echelon teams, and then Subtle. So yeah, it like they have a trek in front of them for sure. So I don't see them going undefeated. I think that's less of a stretch than saying they will go undefeated.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if they can manage to keep that streak. They've got some really, you're right, they have some really tough competition ahead of them, but I don't know, it'd be kind of impressive if they did. It'd be a statement, if you will.
And yeah, for sure. They got lucky though. They did beat Bravado early, so they don't have to play them now. So now it's just kind of like now they just have to beat everybody that's currently under them.
It'll be interesting to see how seeding shakes out in terms of playoffs too. Like who you want to actually match up against. Is the 6 seed necessarily more advantageous than going against, say, the 4 seed or something like that?
Mm-hmm. So we could see some potential throwing. Okay, I like that.
That was not where I was going with it, but you know, possibility that must always be considered.
Yeah.
So another topic, a less happy topic in in Mountain Dew League, is there's been some turnover. Specifically, team has died. So
all 5 players in the same car in a car crash. Done.
Car crash has called apparently their server their team communications. Levitate is no more. They have fallen back to earth. They have fallen off of their levitating pedestal. They broke concentration. I'm disappointed. Mostly, I don't know. Mostly because, first of all, I like Spermy because he was my first interview, like ever.
That was a good interview, by the way. Props to
you.
So I was there.
If you want to check it out, check out that Spermy interview. That was actually a pretty good interview. He gives a good interview.
Yeah, he does.
But also because Era then X Era was actually good last season. Like,
yeah.
That was a team that had promise, and I was excited for it, and I wanted them to stick together because they had structure, and it was sort of coming together, and they would make runs that no one really saw coming. I mean, they did well in a couple different online tournaments and some on-land tournaments, and I was excited for that squad. I liked the way they were composed. It was Spermy, Twiggy, Crashies, Phantom, and a 5th who eludes me right this second.
Oh my god. No. I got you.
They're gonna be mad. He's gonna be mad at me, whoever it is.
I should know who it is. Come on. What am I doing? Ben.
Yeah, Ben Leet before he left for Ethereum.
Yeah.
And then Ben Leet left for Ethereum, and they replaced Ben Leet with somebody else.
Tabs? For a little bit, pretty sure. Or Juice.
No, they replaced Tabs with Ben Leet. No, Juice replaced was the come in for Twiggy because Twiggy evaporated.
Land dodge went into the abyss. Thanos snapped his fingers, and he was the unlucky one. Like
gone, which is a shame because he was good. So
yeah,
that casts a lot of asterisks on previous online performances. As far as
Twiggy's just like, I don't feel good, Mr. Spermy, and just eviscerated.
That's a shame. But I don't know. It is a shame that this team fell apart, especially since they came out of Maine all together. They didn't make a whole lot of changes, and they were doing well in Mountain Dew League, and then they all got offers from elsewhere, and now Crashies is playing with? Is he with Blackout?
Pretty sure.
No, Monstars. So Crashies is actually doing
5-3 currently in the league.
So it's not terrible. Crashies is actually doing decently.
I think Monstars is X. Oh, what the hell was her name?
Ronan.
The Entourage. That's what they were named.
Yeah, and then they were Ronin before that. And it's
Yeah.
XP3's team.
Yeah.
XP3's team. So that's not terrible for Crashies, but Phantom is on Squirtle Squad, right? Will it win?
Will to win? No.
He's
no longer on that.
Oh,
He
got
might have
cut.
been.
I think he got cut, or he left. I don't know exactly the details there. So he's no longer on that squad, and then Juice and Spermy, I guess, are teamless now, and just all fell apart.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I wish they stayed together, but whatever. Levitate is now dead. Rest in peace,
dead.
Levitate.
Pepperoni.
And like I alluded to earlier, somebody who's not dead, Seb is back in the scene. Not a free agent anymore. He's on Blackout, which I really like. I think this team, it just improved itself very much. Even though they were already good before, I like them even more now.
They're not doing that well in this season, are they? They're like sort of upper middle.
They're 8-5 currently, so they're not doing too bad. They're literally like 2 wins away from a playoff spot, and they have to play FAM 1-4-3 and 46-2. So I mean,
they're better than I thought they were doing.
Fair
enough.
Currently, Connor 93, Gramps, Mainline, Odorous, Seb, and Wrath are on the roster. I imagine Gramps will be taking a back seat, and it'll be Connor 93, Mainline, Odorous, Seb, and Wrath. That's just what I expect the roster to look like. I can't imagine Gramps will be staying with the squad. I imagine he'll fall off into other bald things. I don't know. And then the team will become godlike.
Other bald things.
Yes.
To be expected.
Just your typical bald things.
Be expected. What are you doing? Oh, bald things.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're that's a pretty squad. They've certainly got a ton of frag at this point. A ton of frag power, an interesting team. I think that they can obviously do some damage this season, and the interesting thing will be whether they stick together and in what form they stick together and going into the next season.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I think this is going to get interesting. Other addition, Vikings and Mr. Fisher, who's a name I'm not terribly familiar with. I'm going to be honest with you.
I'm not insanely familiar with him either. I don't know what else he'll bring to the squad, considering they're 5-7 right now. He's a ranked G player. He's been playing main. He's never touched MDL. He was in advanced this season for 8 games. That's about his entire life right there.
Yeah, Terrai steps down. They bring up Mr. Fisher. I don't know anything about him, but I got some opinions at the Landis, people who do know him, and it was entirely mixed. There were some people whose opinions who very much liked him and thought he deserved a chance. And there were some people whose opinions I very much respect who thought he was going to be god awful and this was a terrible mistake. So I guess we'll find out who gets proved right.
See, here's the thing. I actually like Terrorize even from his main days. I think he's actually a really good player. Mm-hmm. So it's unfortunate that he steps down from the team, but I'd actually really like to see where he goes because I do think he has a place in the MDL.
Yes.
I don't think he's going to. No.
I think he's stepping back from CS. It wasn't that he got cut.
No.
He didn't get cut. It was that he's stepping back because of whatever's going on in his life. I was speaking to Com about it. Com didn't want to get into the details of what's going on with Terrorize because obviously that's his business.
Yeah, for sure.
But it wasn't that they were cutting Terrorize. It was that
they wouldn't want to, obviously.
No, Terrorize stepped down. He had been, I guess, sort of distracted by stuff, and real life caught up to him, and it no longer allowed him to play CS at this level. All
right. Well, I guess good luck to Terrorize then. I'll be happy to see you back whenever you choose to. And if you don't, well, good luck with the real life, the IRL stuff.
So we may see some more Terrorize at some point, but this is basically where I'm going with that. That's what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. Other big addition, twice to Squirtle Squad. Squirtle Squad renamed to Will to Win.
The all-time seasonal frag leader twice. The 400+ frag man is now on Will to Win. That's a big addition. I like that.
I like it a lot.
Like
twice.
I still wish that AGM was just coaching. I know. I'm sorry, Michael.
He's been fragging.
But bro, they can get someone better.
I don't know, man. AGM's been fragging. All I'm saying is look at the last few matches. We're going to look at the last few matches. Okay, that's a bad example. They lose. AGM second from bottom. AGM second from top.
Cherry pick. Go cherry pick something.
I'm cherry picking the crap out of these stats. They beat really old people. AGM second from top under Loner. They played Blackout. There's a loss against Blackout. Let's see who tops this. Oh, no, it's doing that thing where it doesn't actually give me stats. Rip. All right, I'll look at another thing. All right, I got no stats. It's all right.
You know why you got no stats? Because it's not there, okay? You want to believe in something that's not real. They need a new fifth right now.
I don't know.
I'll say this. How about this? You know what? AGM, you've been fine in the regular season. I don't believe that. I actually lied about saying that. Okay? I want a new fifth right now because they need to make playoffs. Okay? They're 13 games into the season. There's 3 more games. You have to play Resolute, Gorilla Gang, and Dignitas. You cannot tell me that AGM is the secret to beating these 3 teams right now.
I'll make a bet with you.
Okay.
I don't know what my side of the bet is going to be. But if they beat Dignitas with AGM as a player, you want to make some sort of wager there?
I'll make a wager right now. I'll tweet it out. We'll make it happen.
All right.
You know what? We'll stick to this. We said this before the show that if we got a Nutella sponsorship, Darf will slather himself up in Nutella. Well, guess what? I got like 3 jars in my cupboard. Okay, if Dignitas lose to Will to Win with AGM as a player, I will take all 3 jars and on stream, I will slather myself from head to toe in Nutella right now. I'm putting it out there.
All right.
You don't even have to do anything on the other side of the bet. All right.
I'm holding you to that.
You are exempt from anything.
I'm definitely holding you to that. All I know is I saw AGM this last weekend. Man's a fragger. Okay, wait, this is actually a good story. They 16-0'd a team, but that's not the impressive part. The impressive part is that AGM didn't die once on the entire map. He went 11, 3, and 0. No deaths. By the end of it, it was literally just keep AGM alive, and they 16-0'd them. It was actually one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen. There's a screenshot of it on one of the GexCon computers. Yeah, it was genuinely impressive. So that was low. Yeah, that was T Connor's AGM base, nerfed and droid. So shout out to them in chat. But all I'm saying, man, I believe.
Okay. All right.
I believe.
So AGM, we're done with that discussion, I guess.
We're just very split on this issue.
Yeah, but very split. So
I believe in Squirrel Squad / Will to Win with AGM, and we'll see who's right at the end of the season. That's all I'm saying.
So we brought it up earlier. We were talking about Swole Patrol as they went 0-2 in the minor, but VSA is an interesting free agent. He got released from Ghost at the same time that Seb did. He's already joined up with Blackout, as we mentioned before. So now VSA is free to do as he pleases. I think he best fits in Swole Patrol. I can't say I don't see another team that he would fit well in. I just think it's the best option for him in terms of like top teams, playoff contenders that he can join right now and fit in well.
It'd be very interesting. The real question is just the mesh in terms of personalities, because that is a team of very strong personalities, as I understand it. And VSA is also, from my impressions of him, a fairly strong personality.
Yes, we've heard about it before, and probably in Twit longers and things like that. Yeah. I think VSA was a big proponent in the whole John G kind of retiring from CS a little bit. I know there was a little bit of discrepancy in that Twit longer. So I think VSA is a bit of a he's got a head on his shoulders kind of guy. So maybe it would.
Did my camera just go super fuzzy?
Yeah,
there we go. It fixed its own focus. I didn't touch anything. Literally, I just leaned forward and it was like, no, this is your life now.
We literally made the same face at the same time. We were like, what the hell is going on?
Confusion. No, VSA is an interesting free agent indeed. He makes a lot of teams better if he's brought in just in terms of bringing an experienced IGL. The question is, what kind of a team is VSA going to want to move to as well? Because he's just come out of having a not unsuccessful run in Pro League. I mean, he showed that his leadership could, in fact, work at that level. So there's not really a space for him on any Pro League roster right now.
Yeah.
Like United's not going to pick VSA back up.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
Rogue's looking real good. Doesn't need VSA. Ghost just cut VSA. Trying to think of other teams where he could potentially fit. I guess Boxer, X-Splice, maybe. There's room for him.
Yeah,
I don't know how that would look. That's a weird team.
Are people still on that team?
Absolutely. It's the exact same team except no Exotic and Ricky.
Okay.
Oh, not Ricky. Ricky's on Rogue, right?
Yeah, they got Drone, Semphis, Davey, Exotic, and Cutler.
No Exotic.
I don't think Exotic's on that team anymore. Sorry.
Exotic is definitely not on that team.
He's playing in MDL now.
I need to know.
I don't think they have one right now, do they?
Oh yeah, Fates.
Oh, the Estonian.
Yeah.
That's a solid pick.
That's why they got Boxer as a sponsor, was literally to bring, as I understand it, and to get to events and stuff.
Nice.
So that's a team that could maybe, because that's really the only Pro League roster I can really have a solidified. They have a solid 5. They haven't really done anything with it,
Yeah.
I could see changes happening.
Okay, so you using this idea of VSA as an IGL, and just kind of like comparing it to sports. This is kind of its own topic within a topic. Compared to other sports, especially maybe something like football, where people are kind of like plug and play. Like say like an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman, you sign them, you throw them in, they do the job at whatever level that they do it at.
Yeah.
Within Counter-Strike, do you think there's potential for a plug and play?
Not with an IGL. I don't think so with an IGL. I think that you need time with an IGL. I think you can plug and play and just sort of like everyone's having fun with the way he's calling and it's a loose calling style and yada. But it's sort of the honeymoon period type of thing. I think it's very difficult to have a plug and play in terms of like it's one thing to bring in a player like a Simple who's just insane fragging power, throw him into Liquid. They don't even really practice with him that much because he's too toxic to practice with at that point. And he's it's like, go kill. And he kills everybody. Yeah. That's a plug and play type of player. You can do that in terms of star power, like bringing in someone like Fates, who they hadn't really practiced with, but as soon as they bring him in, it's a market upgrade. That kind of thing works. In-game leading, not so much, because you have to have time to install your system. You have to have time to get a feel for the way people are playing, for that chemistry. I think it just takes a little bit longer.
Right.
I see Odorous, whose his point is that you don't need an in-game leader in Premier. So
what's Premier? I'm only familiar with MDL. No,
right.
I mean, maybe you don't. Is he saying that because he doesn't have one? I mean, mainline isn't mainline IGLing his team?
I think the point is that a deady, serious in-game leader is maybe not. What I would say is if you're an MDL team, having one.
That was weird.
What? I cut out?
You cut out for me, at least.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're good.
Audio issues are the bane of my existence. What I'm saying is if you're an MDL team that wants to go further than MDL, that wants to go beyond MDL, that wants to make pro, that wants to compete in the type of events that being a pro team involves, you need to have an in-game leader. And you need to have the type of support and the familiarity and experience with that in-game leader that means that you can go further once you're beyond MDL. That's my point.
Very true. So we got to move on to the next topic because we are almost running out of time. We are running out of time. We always do this.
We like to talk too much.
Yeah, very true. So ESL 1 Cologne just ended yesterday? Day before? I think it was yesterday.
Yeah.
I was up for 30 hours yesterday, so the days kind of ran together a little bit.
Yesterday, Sunday. Yep, that was the grand final.
All right.
That was an incredible. I mean, that event is always just knocks your socks off.
Yeah, I don't know why it just lost its major status. Like it was always a decent event, so it's kind of.
I think it's that they moved the major. They wanted one in that early fall slot and one in the January slot. And it just didn't quite line up. Apparently, ESL is going to be doing the next major after London, so I guess they get one back. But Cologne isn't. I mean, Cologne's insane. It's the cathedral of Counter-Strike, as they call it, and it's really is just. Let's just say one day in my career, I hope to work there in some capacity during an ESL One Cologne, and that would be legendary.
That would be nice. I agree. I'd like to see you up there, man. Come on, casting the final and everything.
That'd be insane. I think I would die afterwards. Just like ascend. Just like okay, you've seen The Last Jedi, right?
Of course.
Whatever your views on it were, I'm not the biggest fan, but at the end when Luke's just like, all right, I'm good now, and just vaporizes away. That would be me if I cast the final in Cologne. I'd just be like, all right, I'm complete now. Gone. More skins.
So Navi walk away with the win, more or less surprising if people want to believe that it's that big of a surprise. I personally don't think that it is.
They won the past few events as well, right?
Yeah, so they won Star Series, they won the CSGO Asia Championship, and now they have won ESL One Cologne. So when they attend an event, they just win it, apparently. HLTV gave their MVP to Simple, which I mean, obviously.
He's too good.
He's a monster right now.
He's nerf.
But Electronic, especially in that final as well, looked really good. Like a beast. And I really want to point this out, and I went out of my way to do some digging for this HLTV link. So if my boy Griffin could bring it up for me. This is when Electronic basically became insane. This was when Gambit first kind of came into the scene in 2016. This was for a major. This was in the group stage of a minor, the CIS regional minor. In Group B winners match, Electronic was facing Gambit, who had Moo, Adren, Waylander, Doja, and Hooch. This team was pretty good.
Oh, man,
Electronic dropped 100 kills on them in a 36-32 game on Cobblestone, and then a 16-14 on Inferno. Like,
the man's nuts.
He popped off for over a frag a round. Like, it was 68 and then 30, 98 rounds, and he had 100 frags. It's pretty good.
Yeah, that's all right.
That was when I first took notice of Electronic, because I actually watched that game, the full 68 round match that it soaked up my life or my day that day. And that's when he came into the scene. And when he moved into Navi, I was like, it's happening. And now that it's finally come to fruition, I feel blessed. I feel blessed to have seen that game and now to have seen these finals.
He is actually insane. That pairing of Simple and Electronic is huge. It's amazing how much it papers over when the other players aren't having a game. I mean, even Flamey used to be the duo where like you have to have Flamey activated as well for Navi to really be the Navi they needed to be. Now they don't. I think there was a map where Flamey had like 9 kills by the end of it, but they won because it didn't matter because you've got Electronic and Simple who can just annihilate a team apiece.
Yeah,
they're actually ridiculous. That team is. I think that team and Astralis are probably my top 2 in the world, and I'm probably going to dig it out for a while. I think until FaZe gets a solid 5th, that's probably going to be pretty consistently true. I think FaZe has the potential to be a top 5 team or a top team, period. But the not having a defined 5th for the last 6 months or whatever is just completely ruined them.
It's hurting them big time. And speaking of big time, big, making it to the finals. Segway nailed it. That's a surprise run right there. The fact that they just, and maybe it was a big surprise to Thorin too.
I think it was a big surprise to the players on that team.
There was a lot of backlash for that man after saying that FaZe was going to just shit on them. He thought they were just going to destroy them. And
the man lives in a world of controversy. I think he's perfectly comfortable with it. I don't know. He rides these waves. He makes bold statements that are fairly offensive, and sometimes it does not work out for him.
Yeah, in this case, it was not on his side, and this whole thing has kind of brought in a question of home crowd advantage. Like with C9 in the major, it was in Boston, they win. Okay. ESL One Cologne, big, makes it to the final when you really wouldn't expect them to make it to the final.
I think it absolutely is a thing. I mean, you're in a stadium with that many people who are cheering especially if you're a team. I mean, for Cloud9, they're used to having like that home crowd advantage when they're at any North American event, so it's not something new. But for Big, like they're not used to getting to an event of that caliber as the home team and having the majority of people in a stadium root for them.
Yeah.
That's got to be just so insanely uplifting and motivating and really fuel the team to rise to new heights and just really like get everyone pumped and into it.
But here's my only thing, and I guess it's a minor gripe considering what happened. But Navi and Astralis getting drawn into the semis, Big doesn't make the final if Astralis is in the other side of the bracket.
I mean, okay, yeah, sure. Astralis is a hard team to overcome, but they beat FaZe, which FaZe had literally just won an event. I know they don't have a defined fifth, but you can't be like, they just beat those scrubs FaZe to get to the finals. Like, oh, what bums! Oh, such an easy run. Like, there was still, a big run. And who else did they beat? I think they beat Made in Brazil, which, there's
anybody who beats them now, I don't care. It doesn't even mean it.
They beat G2.
That surprised me more than the FaZe win. I really thought G2 was going to walk away with that one.
I don't think they have it together that much. I think they're good. I think they're very good. I think there's potential for more, but I think the way that they're playing now is still going to take some time.
Very true. Any team with Smiths is a questionable one.
Yeah, I mean, but the other exciting thing about Smooya has been playing ridiculously well.
He popped off. And you know what? I think it's been a long time coming for Smooya. I've seen Smooya get a lot of hate from his time in like FPL or Rank S, I guess. And in other teams as well. Like I've seen him get shit on a lot on the internet. So I think it's finally time that he moves into his own, especially because even when he was getting shit on, he was still a really good player.
Yeah. The Rat King has come home to his kingdom.
And now he's putting UK on the map. Football is coming home, and now he's bringing CS into the country too. All right,
Smooya, the hopes of an entire nation upon you. No one else in your country is apparently very good at Counter-Strike, so Smooya, it's all on you.
Because Depp tried to do it in NA, and I mean, I guess he did it against NRG today, but that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, definitely coming. There's something there. There's something there. He's was it his parents who were at Frag? It was, wasn't it?
Dev's
his parents showed up to Frag 11. I think that was Dev.
That's awesome.
Maybe not though. Don't quote me on that.
Me on that. So I'm sure we only got so much time left, so we're gonna try to bang out these topics real quick. This is the rapid fire part of Drop Room.
Let's talk about roster changes. Crazy stuff. It's a really exciting time in the last 24 hours for roster rumors. We've got apparently Made in Brazil is already making changes. They're in talks to bring in Tarek, which is crazy.
I'm surprised it took this long considering they got Stewie and they offered Stewie an automatic first.
Yeah.
And now they're finally offering Tarek. Okay.
The thing is, I tweeted this out, that I'm just going to steal my own joke here. They are doing their damnedest to make the Made in Brazil tag as ironic as possible, as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
They're going to bring in Tarek. They're going to keep cutting Brazilians. This time, apparently, it's Bolts on the out. Bolts has been underperforming. I guess communication seems like it's been an issue. Bolts is quiet in the best of times. I think the language barrier is an added difficulty for him, and they're ready to move on. So Tarek, coached from Cloud9 as well, potentially, in the continued dismantling of the last major winner. It makes me sad.
Yeah. I think it all just stemmed from the Taco drop. Once Taco was gone, I feel like they kind of gave in to the hate.
Well, there's another domino from that Taco, which is the Taco drop, which is that Cold is now apparently considering leaving the roster. Cold Zera, best player in the world, 2 years running, still, easily a top player.
Yeah.
Insanely skilled, insane in the clutch, insane in the lurk, is apparently considering leaving Made in Brazil specifically to go to Liquid. and pair back up with his boy Taco.
Which doesn't surprise me. When you're literally at the top, like keep in mind,
Mm-hmm.
like these guys were good for 2 straight years. Like it wasn't a competition.
They were
Like
insane. They were the best team in the world.
they were ridiculous. It took a FaZe super team to bring them down.
Yeah.
Like,
and Astralis going up.
Yeah. So they took all this time to just dominate, and now they, for lack of a better term, they suck in comparison.
Yeah.
They are not what they used to be anymore. So does it surprise me that Cold wants to leave for something else that might maybe prove fruitful? Doesn't surprise me at least, like in the slightest. This guy's been winning nonstop, and now just all of a sudden he's plummeting. I'd want to leave too.
It's crazy that he could go to Liquid though. I mean, who? So here's the question: if Liquid gets,
what you cut out?
Who do they replace? Who do they replace for Coldzera? Is it minus Naf or is it minus Nitro? Because they're not cutting a Liege, especially since a Liege speaks Portuguese.
Yeah,
obviously they're not cutting a Liege.
Yeah, I'd say they're cutting Nitro. In my opinion, it should have happened a long time ago. I've never been a Nitro fanboy. He's been on this team for a long time, and I've always thought okay, Nitro's going to be gone. Nitro's going to be gone, and it's never happened.
But doesn't he IGL for them now?
Ugh, that brings in another complication.
Yeah, I think he IGLs for them.
Okay, here's what we're going to do, okay? We're going to drop Nitro. We're going to drop Twist. As much as I don't want to do it, I just think Naf is better than
Twist. You think they're going to drop Twist?
Hear me out, okay?
Okay.
They drop Twist.
I'm hearing
They drop Nitro. They bring in Cold.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to bring him back. VSA's coming in.
Because they Liquid? That would be
VSA's getting
promotion.
Cut from Ghost, and then he's going up to Liquid to play with Cold.
That would be failing upwards.
Yeah.
Big way. That would be, I think VSA would be happy with that turn of events.
There you go.
All right. So in that mad world, I think it's more likely, to be honest, that Naf's on the out, not because of any problem with Naf. I think Naf is an amazing player, a great clutcher, and just a phenomenal player. I think that they would be loath, especially when trying to introduce 2 Portuguese-speaking players, to cut their in-game leader. And I think that just history states that Naf tends to get screwed by roster moves. I mean,
that's facts right there.
Naf just kind of always seems to be the odd man out when roster moves happen, so I wouldn't be surprised to see it happen to him again. Which would suck for him because he's phenomenal, but hey, maybe he'll come to class.
Who knows?
He'd be a good pickup for them. Join up with his boy Rush.
But are you... So 100% they're not dropping Twist. As much as I love Twist.
I'd be surprised. I'd be super surprised because they basically Twist in a similar way to the way they made the investment on Liege, where they said, okay, this is an ascending player, this is a young player, this is a player who we have not seen the best Counter-Strike from yet, and it's paid off them already hugely. He is so much better than he was when they picked him up. And I think that Liquid as an org is willing to spend the time and spend the resources to develop players because they have an eye towards that. And I think that Zeus as a coach is also very willing to develop players, again, because I think he has an eye towards that. And so I'd be very surprised if they break up Twist and Liege or if they get rid of Twist, because I think Twist they view as a player with increased potential beyond what he's already at. Whereas like Naf, as amazing as he is sort of Naf as Naf. You know? Yeah,
he's hit his ceiling. He's hitting that age maybe where it's like this is what I'm capable of.
I don't even know if it's an age thing so much as like he's very good. He's he's 20. He's only 20. Holy crap. Naf is younger than I thought he was. He's just very good, and he's sort of at a level where it's like, okay, we know what we get out of him. But I think Twist is still a little more of an unknown commodity just because he's so new to this tier of Counter-Strike.
Very true. All right. So we've discussed the roster changes. We got to move on.
Did we get all of them?
I don't think
we'll do upcoming events. We'll do the rest of this.
We gotta go.
All right, we're running out of time. Our producer's gonna get mad at us.
Yes, he will.
So, upcoming events. What's on the horizon? What we're looking forward to, folks. First up, E-League. Happening July 21st to 29th. That's exciting. I love E-League. I love the production.
Yeah, the production value is huge.
This time it's going to be hosted by Machine, I think, right? No more
Is
Richard
it?
Lewis.
Let's go. I like Richard Lewis, but I like Machine too. Great personable guy.
Mm-hmm.
So we got Astralis, Cloud9, Na'Vi, FaZe, Liquid, MIBR, Fnatic, and Mouse Sports all competing. Unfortunately, we don't have Oh wait, we do have Na'Vi in there. Sorry, I skipped over and didn't even think about it.
I want to see who's most dominant out of Astralis. I think FaZe, if they continue to solidify with, I assume they're playing with Croman, could also give a run for their money. Liquid, I don't know. It's when you get to a point in a roster where everyone knows a change is possibly going to be made, I feel like it goes one of two ways. Either everyone's demoralized and it all falls apart in that tournament, or there's no pressure and everyone's just like, screw it, let's win a tournament. And then you win a tournament. See Adren.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very
Speaking
true.
of Liquid.
Yeah.
Fnatic, I don't know.
Yeah, that's kind of up in the air, maybe.
I don't know what to make of Exists Fnatic yet. I really don't know.
And then Lecro also being on the squad after, like, didn't they win an event with Golden like right before they cut him?
Well, they were going to cut Golden, and then they won an event, and then Golden famously tweeted, "I stay."
Oh yeah.
It was like, well, we can't cut Golden now.
Yeah.
Because we literally just won something for the first time in a year. And then they basically spent a long time figuring it out, and then they cut Golden.
All right. Well, that's it for E-League. Those are the teams. Those are our...
I don't know what we're going to see out of Cloud9. Like, who knows?
Yeah.
Basically.
Up in the air as always. So now we've got Tokyo and Tulsa. We're going from E-League to Tulsa. A little anime convention going on with a little Counter-Strike happening in the background. Yes. The teams that are already announced for a couple MBL teams, we got Blackout, Vision Gaming, AZO Esports, and Fake Out Nation, the famous banned from ESEA Fake Out Nation.
That Fake Out Nation.
Yes. Do you know another Fake Out Nation?
I just forgot who they were.
Oh, okay.
I'll be honest with you.
Yeah. Just a quick, little 2-day LAN that's going to be happening over there. So, I mean, if you live in Oklahoma.
There's also a team, very importantly, named Jurassic Cock, whose logo is huge testicles on a shield.
Okay.
It's Rizzy and Nex, and they don't have anyone else added to the team yet. So that's going to be interesting.
An interesting name. So shout out to Jurassic Cock.
Jurassic Cock.
I hope you really like anime as well. It's an anime convention, so have fun. And then in bigger event news, we got DreamHack Valencia happening in 3 days, the 12th, 14th.
Mm-hmm.
We got G2 North is going in, but they got Mixwell to stand in. So at least the Spaniards got another person to cheer for because we got.
That's weird, that roster move or the stand in. Like, it's not weird that they're trying out Mixwell because Mixwell is a phenomenal player, and clearly something hasn't been working with North. It's weird that they're trying him out for Mertz.
I would say it's just because of the role, and possibly Mertz is just like on vacation or something. I can't imagine they're cutting Mertz at any point. No, don't.
I kind of wonder if it's a North, like, here, MS, try something else and let's see if you can make it work. Otherwise, maybe.
Otherwise, you're done.
But they've shown so much commitment to MSL over the 2 years that they've existed. So I don't know. Hard to say. It's going to be interesting to see what they look like with that squad. Other really interesting thing, this is relevant to your shirt right now. You could just stand up a little bit.
Yeah.
Virtus Pro's invited. It's going to be the first time we get to see whatever this iteration of Virtus Pro is at this kind of an event. I mean, this is not a Virtus Pro that really looks very familiar anymore. We've still got Pasha and we've still got Neo.
Yep.
We've got Mishu
Bialy.
And Bialy.
You always forget Bialy. Come on.
And a fifth.
Come on. And a fifth.
To be fair, the scoreboard's forgotten Bialy for a while.
All right, now Mike's getting savage.
I'm into heat. Fortunately, Bialy will never. So don't translate the Polish for me.
All right, so I've actually got a few ideas for VP replacements, and it doesn't have to be forever. Just this event is fine because there are many good Polish players. There's a lot of like low-level teams that actually have like really decent players on them. One of them being XCOM, kind of like maybe a name that you're not familiar with, considering they're not too big of a.
Do they fight aliens?
They do not. Unfortunately, no. They just fight other Polish players in Counter-Strike. They went to this weird event. I think it was in Hungary. That actually had a lot of really good teams at it.
How do you spell the team name?
So it's X-Com, KOM.
KOM. That was
yes.
throwing me. Every time. Have you played the XCOM games?
I have not. I saw that there was actually for free on PS4. I was just like, hell no.
They're great games, first of all. But every time they take an aim duel, they get pops up against their opponents, which tells them what their odds are of winning a fight. So anyone who's played the XCOM games understands that joke. I completely is lost on you, Balti.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Video game culture.
It was V4 Future Sports Festival. That was the event that they went to. So they basically won tied Mouse Sports. They won timed X status, and then they lost 2 maps to VP. And that's basically all they did at that event. They didn't do so hot. But a player that I actually really liked from that team is Goofy. I think that he's actually a really decent player.
I'm glad you chose that one because he's got the best name.
He does have the best name. Come on, it's Goofy. Come on. All right. So I think Goofy would be really cool to see within that team. Another guy that you might be unfamiliar with, a guy named Sany, spelled S-A-N-Y. Fairly sure he played with a team called ESC, or at least ex-ESC, back in the day. It was actually quite decent at the game despite his current HLTV rating, just because he hasn't been that active. He's only played so many maps. He's played 9 maps in the past 3 months. So he's basically inactive at this point, but he was actually quite good back in the day. Currently plays for Illuminaire. And then Hyper, who we've actually seen play in majors for, I believe it was a gambling sponsorship. I can't quite remember which company it was. I think it was either Katowice or Cologne in 2016 or 2015 that he was with this company. I can't remember what the hell their name was. But Hyper, he's played with King One a lot in the past, and I'm sure that he would have a decent time playing for VP. That's about it. That's all I got. That's all I got for you.
One thing I want to see happen here is I want to see which Danish team is actually better. Because you got Heroic, Fragsters, and North at this squad, at this team, right?
True.
A lot of Danes.
Yeah, and one Danish team with a Spanish stand-in.
Yeah, we'll see if the home crowd advantage can help them out.
I don't think Fragsters will end up being even second. I think they will still maintain their lower status.
They look good at the last DreamHack. There's some things to work with there. I mean, they look
I don't disagree. I think they're very promising. I just don't see it. I don't see it here.
The other thing here is just based on this team list, G2 should stomp. If G2 doesn't stomp, it'll be disappointing.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that this is a prove it. Like, if they can't hang with this crowd, it's not looking promising for them, even though they're saying they're going to need a lot of time. And I get that. They're going to need time, but they're going to need time to compete at the level that we saw in Cologne.
Yeah.
They shouldn't need time to compete at this level. Really, the only teams that should give them trouble are North and Heroic.
Yeah, the other teams listed are Luminosity, who are the North American qualifiers. AGO, the other Polish team. Probably just the best Polish team at the moment.
Good lately.
Denver and Kingwood. And then the hometown crowd, Giants, who probably won't use it to the same effect that Big did, but who knows?
Who knows? So that should be G2. We'll see. It'll be interesting. This whole event's going to be interesting for a couple of different rosters. It's kind of like almost a test event for a few different ideas and rosters. And we'll see how that goes. So that's what we got on the horizon. And keep an eye on Tulsa. Who knows? Maybe you'll see a familiar face there. Maybe. But
don't spoil. Spoiler alert.
No spoilers. Mostly because I don't actually know whether that it's a spoiler or not. But that's going to be it from us. This is the parting words of wisdom, Balti.
Goodbye. See you next week. Those are my parting words of wisdom. Yep.
We'll be back here in the same exact spot at 6 p.m. Also this Thursday at 8 o'clock p.m. I'm not exactly sure who that will be this week yet, but we'll get it figured out. Planning. And
Yes.
we'll be back, folks. Stay tuned to this space.